Hello Year 4s. This video is about multiplying two digits by one digit. As you can see here, we have two digits and we're multiplying it by one digit. So that's what we're going to be learning in this video, how to do these two digit by one digit multiplication in a written way. Let's get started with our first problem. We are going to start with the problem 22 times 3. Now, you might know a different way of how to solve this problem. And that's good. There are many ways to solve multiplication problems. We're going to actually use the split strategy to help us understand what we're doing when we do the two digit by one digit written method. If we remember back to our split strategy, we can split 22 into 20 plus 2, or 2 tens plus 2. Then all we have to do is multiply the 20 by 3, because that's what's happening up here. And we also have to multiply the 2 by 3, because that's what's happening up here. 20 by 3 I know is 60, because 20, 40, 60. And 2 times 3 is 6. Because I split those numbers, I just need to put them back together. 60 plus 6 is 66. That's the way we would do this as a split strategy. The way that we do it in the written way looks different, but is exactly the same. Let's take a look. If I was doing 22 times 3 using the written method, I'm doing the same thing. I am multiplying 20 by 3 and 2 by 3. I'm going to start by multiplying 2 times 3. Now my answer to 2 times 3 is 6. The next thing I'm going to do is multiply the 20 by the 3. Now you might be saying, that's not a 20, that's a 2. But remember, that 2 is in the tens house, which makes it a 20. So in this case, it is actually 20 times 3. But I'm not going to put my answer as 60, because I am already in the tens house. So we know that we're not using the ones house, which means we've already skipped over here. And that way we just treat it as 2 times 3, which is 6, or 60. And you can see we get the same answer. 22 times 3 is 66. Remember, all we did here was 2 times 3 and 20 times 3. Our 20 times 3 answer was around here, and our 2 times 3 answer went here. Let's take a look at another example. Let's look at the example 42 times 4. It's always important to remember what you're doing. We are splitting this number and we're multiplying the 1s by 4 and the 10s by 4. Let's have a look. The first one we're going to do is 2 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. The next one we're going to do is 4 times 4, but really it's 40 times 4. We'll treat it as a 4 though, because we're already in the tens place in our answer. Now 4 times 4 is 16. You know that we can't squeeze two digits into one house, so we're not going to do that here either. Instead, what we do is just like if we were adding, we would put the 6 there and the 1 next to it into the hundreds house, so it would overflow into the next house. And 42 times 4 is 168. Here's another example. We're going to do 12 times 9. This one will have something different. Watch, and then it'll be your turn to have a go. We're going to start with 2 times 9. Now 2 times 9 is 18. Again, I can't squeeze my 18 into the ones house. So what I need to do is treat it as though it is a carry and needs to overflow into the tens house. But in this case, because we have a 1 that we're about to multiply by, or a 10, we can't just put it into the answer place. So 2 times 9 is 18. We're going to put our 8 here and carry our 1 at the top there. We're going to come back and use that in a moment. The next thing we're going to do is multiply this 1, or this 10, by 9. And 1 times 9 is 9. But I have to add my carry. 1 times 9 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Remember, I don't squeeze the digits into one house, I overflow into the hundreds there. 108. 12 times 9 is 108. It's your turn to have a go now. You're going to have a go with me, and I'll guide you through. So write this down as we go. The first question for you is 14 times 6. Write that down now. Remember, we're going to split this number 14. We're going to split it into a 10 and a 4, and both of those need to be multiplied by 6. We always start in the ones house, so that is 4 times 6. Why don't you press pause and work that out now? How did you go? 4 times 6 is 24. Maybe you got that easily, but weren't sure where to put your answers. Well, if we have the number 24 as our answer, remember we can't squeeze those both into the ones house. So we take that ones digit 4 and put it there, and our 2 needs to go up as a carry, ready for when we multiply that 1 or that 10. Press pause and fix that up if you haven't got that. Alright, let's move on now. Now that we've multiplied the ones, we're going to multiply the tens house. The 1 10 by the 6 ones, or 1 times 6. Now that's a pretty easy answer. 1 times 6 is 6, but remember we have this carry here, and we have to add it. So 1 times 6 is 6, and then add the carry. And then why don't you put that in the answer? Press pause and do that now. Well, if you did 1 times 6 is 6 and added 2, you would get 8. So 14 times 6 is 84. Let's try another one together. For this question, let's do 23 times 4. Press pause and write that down now. Okay. Remember, you're going to start with the ones house. So we're going to multiply 3 by 4. You can do your 3 times 4 and put your answer in. Remember, one of those will need to be carried. Press pause and do that now. 3 times 4 is 12. Remembering we need to carry, we'll put our 2 in the ones house and our 1 up here by the tens digit. Let's move on now to do the tens house multiplied by 4. That's 2 tens multiplied by 4, or 2 times 4. Remember, we'll need to add our carry. Press pause and do that now. Well, 2 4s you would have got is 8, but then we have to add our carry. 2 4s are 8, plus 1 is 9. Our answer is 92. 23 multiplied by 4 is 92. Let's try another one now. Let's see how you go solving this one. 34 times 3. Press pause and have a go at solving that question all by yourself. How did you go? Let's give it a go together. First we do 4 times 3, and 4 3s are 12. We put our 2 here and 1 at the top. Then we get ready to multiply our tens house, which is 3 times 3. But then we have to remember, we've got to add our carry. I hope you remembered. So 3 3s are 9, plus our 1 is 10. So we would have ended up overflowing into the hundreds house, giving us the answer 102. 34 multiplied by 3 is 102. Well, you've had a look now at multiplying 2 digit by 1 digit. If you would like to, you can watch the video again. Otherwise, you're ready for some practice. Remember, the video is always here if you want to come back and just recap what you've learned if you have forgotten.